What is up, guys? We are back at it again. Welcome back in. I'm ZB, Zack Brown. This is Touchdown Talk. Another week of football in the bags. We've got tons to talk about with NFL and college football, so let's dive right in. Like we always do, let's go over the NFL slate, then we'll look at previewing all the games coming up this week in the National Football League. So, starting first, let's go across the pond and talk about that Toy Story animated game thing, whatever. Yeah, that alternate broadcast, and obviously the game itself, the Jaguars and Falcons. Jaguars dominate the entire game. You get a win over the Falcons, but everybody's talking about, hey, let's bring Toy Story into football. And I'm sure a lot of kiddos enjoyed it. I'm sure it was cute for families to sit down and watch and have little ones enjoy. But my son, who's 4 years old, looked at me and said, "Daddy, put on the real game." So clearly it didn't appeal to him. He wanted to see the actual football happen. But Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence seem to be getting back on track. The Falcons take a big step back. Thought they had it rolling, but Desmond Ridder is looking like he's not the answer at quarterback for them. It's only at after week 4, but he just does not seem to be making some throws that he should be making. And now there's some talk. There's talk about Justin Fields getting traded down to Atlanta and that he could really boost that offense the way he is able to be a dual-threat quarterback. Kind of like how the Baltimore Ravens are set up. So we'll see. There's going to be tons of chatter. I don't see anybody major getting moved before the trade deadline, but we will see. Falcons need to figure something out. They're back 2-2, and now they're behind a game from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Thursday night game, that was the first game of the week. The Lions take care of business against the Packers. They booty stomped them the entire first half, and the Packers make it a little more respectable in the second half, but the Lions were they put it away. David Montgomery had 3 touchdowns in the game and showed that why he is the number 1 running back. Gibbs, the first-round pick running back for the Lions, hasn't really seen the field too much, but you haven't really need to see him because the Lions are really rolling right now with David Montgomery. And I think you see MCDC as the coach that wants to run the hell out of the ball with one guy, the guy that's hot, and he's not all about everybody's got to get a piece of the action. If they don't need to, make sure the premier guy is keeping it up. Lions get a big-time win. They are 3-1 right now. They are one of the hottest teams in the league. And they look like one of the best teams in the league right now. Very impressive stuff from Detroit. And looking forward to see what they can do for the rest of the year. Rams over the Colts, 29-23. Not very surprising, but Anthony Richardson looks very, very good. And looks like he is the future of the Indianapolis Colts after some questions from the last couple years. With them just getting old guys and just kind of getting by, they might finally have a franchise guy. The biggest thing is Anthony Richardson needs to stay healthy. On the flip side of that, the Rams have a rookie wide receiver, Puka Nacua, who is an absolute fucking animal. Very impressive stuff. He's on pace to break tons of records this year, and he's only a rookie. Keep your eye out for him. Matthew Stafford has his favorite target. And potentially Cooper Kupp is back this week, so keep your eyes open for that. That wide receiver room is going to continue just evolve each and every week, and the Rams might be pretty scary by the end of the year. Big surprise, I think, to a lot of people, the way the Browns defense was playing. They were just stopping everybody. There was nobody could move the ball on them. Nobody could really score on them. Well, the Ravens said, hold my beer, because the Ravens absolutely dog walked the Browns 28-3 in Cleveland. Very, very shocking and very impressive by the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson didn't have to do a whole lot, but the stuff he did was very awesome. He's throwing the ball super crazy well right now. And the Ravens defense looks very scary. The Cleveland offense obviously was without some top targets and top players, but the Ravens are looking really good in that division right now. And they might be the team to take the AFC North, because I thought like a team that could be a dark horse would be the Steelers, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but they fucking suck. So, congrats to the Ravens. Very hot start through the first 4 games. All right, getting to a battle of stinkers right now. The Vikings and Panthers, somebody had to come away with a win. Well, unless they tied, but Panthers still cannot get it going on offense. The first overall pick of this year's draft, Bryce Young, still has yet to figure it out. The Vikings starting to get their groove back a little bit. They finally get a win. They should have won this game. And maybe they'll take some pressure off Kirk Cousins, and they could start putting some games together and get rolling, because they had the leading receiver and the leading passer. So when you have that, you should be winning some games. Their defense looked a lot better, but again, it was against very subpar Panthers offense. So we'll see what the Vikings have yet to bring, but Panthers need to figure something out, and figure out something quick, because it's starting to get a little bit loud down here in Carolina. And Carolina fans are getting fed up with waiting after the whole Cam Newton era. They got a little bit spoiled with all these, I think it was 2-3 winning seasons in a row. Made a Super Bowl. Expectations are pretty high. And the owner here is very impatient as well. So we will see what Bryce Young has yet to be. He looks like he's potentially one of the worst ones out of this last draft class. Going into the Titans and Bengals game, once again, the Bengals lose, and big time loss, and get just stomped by the Tennessee Titans, 27-3. Joe Burrow still not looking like himself. He also has 0 time at all. Defenses know that he's a little bit banged up, can't move like he always does, and they pressure him. And the offensive line is not good anyways, so when they pressure him, they're going to get to him. Jamar says, hey, I'm always fucking open. Well, sorry, Jamar. Bro, your quarterback is under duress every single play. Bengals need to tighten up, figure out something. They were a team that I picked to, I think I picked them to go into the Super Bowl this year. So, surprising, but also you can't predict injuries and stuff. So Joe Burrow's still not himself with that calf injury, and it's definitely lingering. And he could say what he wants, that it's getting better or whatever, but it's definitely a lingering injury. It is 100% affecting the offense. The Buccaneers, now they're on top of the NFC South. They win 26-9 over the Saints. The Saints offense is boo-boo. Terrible offense right now. It looked like with Derek Carr being inserted there, they had potential to start just making things happen and go on scoring frenzies. Nope. Saints are just a trash. And the Buccaneers are very, very impressive, and I did not see this coming. Baker Mayfield kind of having a resurgence in his career. He's fighting for his career because he's on a 1-year contract, so he keeps it up like this, he will get that contract, and he'll get an extension and stay with Buccaneers for some time. They're 3-1, one of the biggest surprising teams, and they even flexed now the Lions and Buccaneers game for Week 6 to go into the America's Game of the Week at the 4:25 slot. So, congrats, Buccaneers fans. Maybe it won't be all dreadful after all, since TB12 has left the stadium. I want to talk about another ass whooping. No one saw this one coming. The Bills, 48. The Dolphins, 20. Josh Allen is looking like his MVP frontrunner self. Stephon Diggs is an absolute animal when it comes to being a receiver. And the Bills' defense was able to figure something out to stop that Dolphins offense. And the Bills have now taken over the lead in the division in which a lot of people pick them to win. But is this the year that the Bills can put everything together, get to the Super Bowl, and even win the Super Bowl? Bills fans have been waiting a long, long time to win a Super Bowl. Because it's never happened. 4 years in a row in the 90s. I couldn't even imagine how much disappointment that would be. The Bills, the window's starting to close. Every year that goes by that they don't get it done, these players get older and more prone to them leaving, retiring, getting hurt. This is their shot. This is their chance. If that defense does that well against the Dolphins like this, what can they do when Von Miller returns? Definitely look forward to that. The Bills might start running the AFC here. Oh, and here we go. Here's the toilet bowl. The Broncos 31, the Bears 28. Bears fans, I am sorry. It must be terrible. I understand disappointment. Being an Eagles fan, growing up in the 90s and everything, and 2000s, it got better, but I get it. Even when Justin Fields has a really good game, you guys can't find a way to win. You're up 28-7. Blow it to the Broncos. I don't really have much to say about this game other than you guys have the top 2 draft picks as of right now. But I think it is time to move on from Justin Fields. You can still try to play around with it this year. This year's already a lost cause. Draft a QB, number 1. And I think try to get Marvin Harrison. You'll have a big-time receiver with tons of upside. And you'll have Caleb Williams, who is projected to be one of the best marquee quarterbacks coming out of college. The only thing is with Caleb Williams is that he now has a list of places he wants to go, and the Bears are not one of those places because he said, I can just go back to USC and make more money than I will on a rookie contract. So we will see what Caleb Williams decides to do if the Bears end up getting that number 1 overall pick. There are tons of teams that are right there on the heels of getting the number 1 overall pick, so we've got 13 more games left. A lot of football left, but the Bears, just bad. Just a bad team. Just a bad team, poorly coached. And I'm not going to put everything on Justin Fields. A lot of it has to do with coaches, and when you're not put in the right situations. When you blow a 28-7 lead, that's big-time coaching. All right. The Eagles, 34. The Commanders, 31. Everybody's trying to say how the Eagles aren't for real, that they shouldn't have struggled against the Commanders. Well, people don't realize that the Commanders have had the Eagles' number the last couple years, and this is an NFC East divisional game. They're always tough. It doesn't surprise me it was this close. Actually, I'm more shocked that the Eagles came away with a win. The way they fought back and got a last-second field goal. That last drive was piss poor from the Eagles' defense to let the Commanders even tie it to go into overtime. Yes, the Commanders probably should have went for 2, but the Commanders' offense was rolling and they got the ball in overtime. I fully expected them to go right down the field and at least get a field goal. There's a gut check for the Eagles. I think it was an eye-opener game for the Eagles. I think they'll be fine. You're not going to win every game. It's just logic. You're never going to win every game. There's going to be a couple games that come up and smack you, and this is one game that very well could have went the other way, and but it wouldn't have been the season. Wouldn't have been the end of the season. They still have not played their best ball altogether. This is probably their best offensive performance overall between rushing and passing balanced. Jalen started to look back like himself. Started letting it Fly and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are just an insane wide receiver tandem. They'll catch anything that gets thrown to them. Commanders look like they might have a guy in Sam Howell. It's only 4 weeks in, but he looks pretty solid, and he looks like he's starting to take command, pun intended, of that offense. And we'll see. I think Eric Bieniemy is doing a great job with that offense, and I do think Eric Bieniemy is going to get a head coaching opportunity, especially if the Commanders even have a halfway decent finish to this year and their offensive numbers have produced and basically spun everything around. Shoot, he could be the dang coach of the Commanders, and that would not shock anybody. All right, J.J. Watt Day at Houston, the Texans 30 and the Steelers 6. Definitely did not see this one. C.J. Stroud looks awesome. C.J. Stroud looks like a guy. He looks like he was the guy that should have been the number 1 overall pick. Texans get lucky with him falling to number 2, and he seemingly is the franchise guy. He's very comfortable in the pocket. He can read the defenses really quick. He knows where to go with the ball. Fires the ball quickly, gets it out of his hands, and trusting these young receivers. Tank Dell is really, really awesome. Very impressive receiver. And Texans defense, you went against Steelers offense, which is the most subpar offense I've ever seen in my life. But they are putting things together, and D'Amico's got them feeling it right now. He's instilling his own culture with the Texans, and the people of Houston are liking it. They are liking the way this is rolling. The Steelers fire Matt Canada. What the fuck are you waiting for? Holy shit, he's so terrible. Why do you think this is good? Like, I don't understand what Mike Tomlin's logic is with keeping him. Obviously, right now the players aren't going to trust this offensive coordinator. Can't make anything work. He's toxic for the organization. The fans are turning against him, and this might cost Mike Tomlin his job. Honestly. Mike Tomlin is regarded as one of the best coaches in the NFL and NFL history. But honestly, there comes a time when people need to go their separate ways. Which I'm about to go in the next game about. But I think it might be time in Pittsburgh. After this season, maybe find somebody who has an offensive mind and bring out the best in Kenny Pickett. Speaking of somebody I think who might be on their last leg on their run as a NFL head coach, the longest tenured coach in the NFL, Bill Belichick. The Cowboys win 38-3 over the Patriots. The Patriots looked all right the first couple weeks, and then they just dropped this against the Cowboys, and Mac Jones reverting back to his self last year. Worst loss in Bill Belichick's career. Patriots are falling apart. And I think this is going to be it. I said this before. I think this is it for Bill Belichick. I think this is his last year. Yes, he had one of the most incredible runs as a dynasty goes. But again, there comes a time where people need to go their separate ways. It happened with Andy Reid and the Eagles. It happens with everybody, depending on how long you're there. I think the time's up for Belichick. You get that feeling. So we'll see what happens in the future, but I don't know if Robert Kraft is going to be able to put up with this much longer. It's just embarrassing losses right now. The Cowboys look good, but nothing spectacular that the Patriots couldn't score more than 3 points. Gave up 2 pick sixes. Just bad day all around. The Cowboys defense back on track after the embarrassing loss to the Cardinals, and sets up a big matchup that we'll talk in a little bit about, the Cowboys and 49ers. Let's backtrack a little bit, go to the Los Angeles Fighting Brandon Staley's, the Los Angeles Chargers. They beat The Las Vegas Raiders by a score 24-17. The Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt. Shocker. And it's the most brittle dude in the history of the league. And Justin Herbert gets partially hurt, but he's still able to make things roll and get a big-time win, big-time throws. Brandon Staley still has no idea how to call games. He gets a win. He's not going to apologize for a win, but fuck, his game awareness is the absolute worst in the NFL. Chargers even out back to 2-2 to stay in closing distance with the Kansas City Chiefs. Another game, 49ers, Cardinals. 49ers took care of business. The Cardinals don't really have to talk about that too much. Christian McCaffrey should be getting some love to be the MVP this year because he looks freaking phenomenal. I don't know what else to say. The white boy got some moves, I guess, because he looks really, really impressive. Let's go to Sunday Night Football with the Kansas City Taylor Swifts going against the New York Jets in MetLife. Yes, Taylor Swift was in the building. In case anybody didn't know, they only showed her 17,000 times. But the numbers are showing. It's one of the highest viewed NFL games since the Super Bowl because all the Swifties tune in. Teenage girls are all watching it because they just want to see what she's wearing. Shit like that. The Jets had a chance. To win this game. They got a pick late, but it was overturned because of a holding call on defense. Is very controversial, especially when their offensive lineman was holding the hell out of the defensive edge rusher from the Jets. Robert Saleh was not happy about that. But the Chiefs didn't really look good. Zach Wilson outplayed Patrick Mahomes statistically. Mahomes made some really weird throws and weird mistakes that he never makes. He and Travis Kelce were not on the same page on a bunch of plays. Not really used to seeing that either. But they win. They get a win over the Jets, and they go to 3-1. Jets fall to 1-3. It's not panic mode for the Jets because I think Zach Wilson is starting to find his groove. I think Aaron being in the building and having that voice in the back of his head reassures him to he's going to have to make it done. He's going to have to be the guy. We'll see. The coaching staff allowed Zack to let it fly. And early downs, he was able to make some good throws and get in a groove. And that's what it's all about, especially for a quarterback that's been struggling. And now the other game at MetLife Stadium, the next night, the Seahawks dominate the New York Jets 24-3. I have nothing, no, not New York Jets, the New York Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. But you probably don't care. You don't care what your team's called right at this point because they don't look good. Danny Dimes was a mistake to sign. I said this at the beginning that's it, last offseason. It's just a mistake to have Danny Dimes get that kind of contract that you're not going to be able to get out of now. You were stuck with him. Well, that's enough about a little bit on Danny Dimes and the Giants. They got to figure something out. But let's get into the previewing the Week 5 slate of the National Football League. And the preview this week is brought to you by my friends over at W Energy. Use promo code ZBHP, 10% off your order. It's w.gg. W Energy is really good stuff. Big energy tiers is what I got here. The blue raspberry. So, like I said, go check them out. W.gg. Use my promo code ZBHP. They got tons of energy stuff with them. And it's jitterless energy. It's clean energy. Gets you through the day. All right, let's preview these matchups this week. All right, the NFL Week 5 slate opens up at a barn burner of a Thursday night football. The completely defeated Bears head to Washington to take on the poop pipes of the Washington Commanders. Commanders coming off very close, very heartbreaking loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. Bears going in with losses to everyone.
I don't think it's really going to be a contest. I think Sam Howell does his thing and lets it rip on prime time, shows them that he is the franchise guy there in Washington. Commanders win big over the Chicago Bears. We're going to London for the Jaguars in the Buffalo Bills. That's my best British accent, I'm sorry. The Jaguars are staying another week in London, and the Bills are traveling across the pond. Josh Allen going against Trevor Lawrence in this big-time game. This is not a Toy Story game. This is a normal London game. Bills, big win against the Dolphins. Jaguars, a big-time win over in London. I think the Bills will be too much for the Jaguars. I think the Bills are firing on all cylinders right now. There's still some question marks with the Jaguars. Bills win big across the pond in England. The Saints and Patriots. Man, there's some bad games this week, aren't there? The Saints come off a really embarrassing loss to the Bucks, and the Patriots come off a very embarrassing loss to the Cowboys. I don't know who to pick. It's like a coin flip right now. I think it's some adjustments made from the Patriots, and I think Bill O'Brien will come up with some schemes to score more than 9 points than the Saints did last week. It might be a very low-scoring affair. I'm going to pick the Patriots in a close one over the Saints. The NFC South battle right here, Titans and Colts. Pretty good game we got for that one. Titans, a couple weeks back-to-back with some impressive wins. And the Colts coming off a tough loss against the Rams. The Colts get to stay home. I think the atmosphere in Indianapolis is getting pretty good. And I think Anthony Richardson is improving each and every week. I do like the Colts in this one. I think it's going to be a tough AFC South battle. But I think the Colts over the Titans in this game. Ravens and Steelers, I don't have much to say about this. Steelers offense is terrible, and they're not making any changes to improve it. Ravens are rolling right now. Ravens, no contest over the Steelers this weekend. Panthers at Lions. Yeah, the Panthers are completely defeated, and they're going to remain completely defeated. The Lions win, no problem, at their house over the Panthers. I'm not going to spend much time on that one. Texans and Falcons. This one is been a surprise story for the year. The Texans look really good. C.J. Stroud is looking like a guy, and Tank Dell is looking like their number one receiver right now. I like the Texans to go into Atlanta and beat the Falcons. Straight up. Giants and Dolphins. Giants suck. Dolphins are not as bad as the Giants, and the Dolphins will get back to firing all cylinders. They might break the scoring record this week against the Giants. Dolphins win big over New York Giants. Bengals and Cardinals. The Cardinals, the subpar performance once again, and Bengals always have a subpar performance apparently. Be interesting which team can get back on track. I still got to keep believing in Joe Burrow. He's got to eventually make some throws. After some criticism he's been taking, the whole team's been taking this week, I like to see the Bengals bounce back and get a win over the Cardinals. The Eagles-Rams this week. I'm not feeling too good about this, so Eagles fans, comment down below. Let me know what you're feeling this week. The Eagles traveling to Los Angeles this week. Matthew Stafford and that entire offense is starting to get rolling, and there's some questions on the Eagles secondary clearly after this past week, and the Eagles pass rush wasn't very impressive in this last week. So obviously you have the linebacker Morrow making some big time sacks and plays, but honestly this might come a shocker to people. I like the Rams over the Eagles in this one. It's just tough to go across the country and get a big-time win when you got some parts that are kind of questionable right now. So I'm picking the Rams over the Eagles in this one. Jets and Broncos. Broncos win over the worst team in the NFL last week. Jets nearly beat the defending champions. If Zach Wilson keeps it up, keeps the same type of game he had last week, shows a little bit more improvement, I think the Jets will win no problem in Denver. So I like the Jets over the Broncos. Chiefs, Vikings. This will be interesting because the Vikings are back at home, riding a little bit of momentum from a win, but I still think the Chiefs are going to be too much for the Vikings to handle. I like Kansas City to roll in Minnesota and take care of business in the late afternoon on Sunday. Sunday Night Football, the game a lot of people have been waiting for already all year. The Cowboys and 49ers, top two teams, of course, in the NFC. The Dallas Cowboys heading to San Francisco. I like the 49ers in this one. I think it'll be a fun defensive game. I think it'll be a lot of back and forth. But in the end, I think the 49ers make more plays and on offense and defense to get the win in front of their home crowd. So 49ers over the Cowboys in this one. And Monday Night Football, I don't know why, but it's in Las Vegas, and I'm sure there's going to be more Packers fans than Raiders fans. I do like the Packers to go in to Las Vegas and beat the Raiders. Devontae Adams will probably have a big game against his former team, but his team now is just not good overall. I think Jordan Love had a good wake-up call last week after that slow start the first half. I think he'll have a bounce-back game and win over the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, that does it for the NFL slate this week. Let's dive into some college football action and go over what we just had and what we're about to see this week.
All right, time for a college football roundup. This week we are finishing up week 5 in college football and heading into week 6. The year is flying by already. Just touching on some games. You know the games I'm going to touch on. Penn State, Nittany Lions, the Appalachia State Mountaineers. Those are the two big teams, obviously, the ones that hold a dear place in my heart. Grew up Penn State fan, went to Appalachian State, so of course I'm going to touch on these. Penn State gets a win, and so does App State, but App State gives me a heart attack. Let's touch on Penn State first. Penn State over Northwestern, 41-13. It really wasn't that close No, it was closer than that for the longest time. Northwestern put up a hell of a fight. Drew Aller didn't look like on his A game right now. Struggled with some throws, some reads, some miscommunications. Northwestern had a chance to get the big upset against Penn State, but the Penn State front lines on both sides started becoming overwhelming. The Penn State defense is really, really good. I'm very impressed with that defense. Definitely one of the best defenses in the country. It's one of the best defenses I've seen at Penn State in a while. And looking forward to seeing what they'll do. They still stay at number 6 in the AP rankings, as well as they should, until proven otherwise. The big game is coming up in a couple weeks. Everybody knows about that. Ohio State and Penn State. That'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, that's really all I got to say about Penn State. Again, Northwestern, very impressive. They got a really stud wide receiver. He was the only one really causing an issue for Penn State's defense. Other than that front line getting to the pass rush and the corners overall look phenomenal. Penn State offensive line needs to give Drew Aller some more time. Drew looked a little bit unsettled back there. But they get a bye week at a good time, get back, settle down, get a easy game after their bye week, and then it's into the Ohio State week. Appalachian State, on the other hand, yes, they. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say. They open up Sun Belt Conference against UL Monroe. It always seems to be a really good game with them and Louisiana. I thought Louisiana had this, and basically whoever had the ball last was going to win. There was no defense at all in this game. App just continues to play to the level of their competition, and it's really frustrating. Aguilar made some really good plays as their quarterback, and but he also made some bad decisions. They weren't able to get Nate Noel in the running game until later in the game in the fourth quarter. Then he started getting going, rolling, and they looked a lot better. But the defense still concerns me. Just being beaten up front, no pressure at all, and just giving up big time plays and big time touchdowns. But Monroe made enough mistakes. App gets in field goal range, kick a field goal, and it's a walk-off win for App. So two teams that I follow closely, Eagles and App State, get walk-off field goals to win their games this weekend. App State has a much-needed break until next Tuesday. Kind of random, but they've been doing that every year in October. They'll take on Coastal and they'll be home, and that's a good thing. So I think App's going to continue to have close games like this. Again, they play the level of their competition. I prefer them to blow everybody out because it's just nerve-wracking right now. And they've bounced back after getting a big-time win against Wyoming because they couldn't lose to Monroe. That would start off their Sun Belt so poorly that they would almost be out of contention to win their conference instantly. So App's off until next Tuesday. So let's touch on a couple other games that happened this past weekend. The big game that a lot of people are still talking about, USC over Colorado. Caleb Williams is very, 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 very good. Very scary. He lets it rip. Tons of scoring in this game. Colorado was down. They started coming back. They had a shot. Their offense looked a lot better. Offensive line looked a lot better, but their defense still had a lot of question marks. Just really no pressure on Caleb Williams. And, giving up 48 points, it's hard to win those games. Colorado is definitely in a better position than they were last year. They'll continue to improve each and every week, and I'm excited to see what they'll do next year when Coach Prime's able to get some more recruiting done. And if he brings some big boys in for offense and defensive line, they're really going to be a good team next year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Another game was two ranked opponents, not ranked anymore, one of them. Texas takes care of business against Kansas. A lot of people thought this could be a really, really good game. Clearly was not. Texas, it looks for real this year. Ewers looks like a really, really good quarterback. So we're going to have to wait on some time for the next Manning to make his appearance in college football. Because Quentin Ewers looks really, really good. And moving to Notre Dame and Duke, the college where the college game day was. Great atmosphere in Duke. Duke has nothing to hang their heads on. They had this game in the bag. Notre Dame gets a big-time run right at the end. Long run touchdown to seal it and bring tears to everybody in Duke's eyes. Notre Dame's good. I think Duke's really good too. Neither one of these teams obviously going to make the college football playoff, but exciting. And they could see each other again in a bowl game. So definitely fun. Fun game there. Fun atmosphere. And another good week of college football. Let's look ahead. Just touch on a couple games. Usually I go through Penn State and App State, but since they're both off this weekend, let's look at it. App State plays next Tuesday, so that's against Coastal. I'm looking forward to that game. It's usually a pretty good game against Coastal. App being in Boone on a Tuesday night, they usually fare pretty decent in those Tuesday night games, and they'll have another big week. So it's almost like two mini buys in a row. So I think App can get it done at home. I think it's going to be a close game once again. I think it'll be a lot of I think it'll be a mid-scoring, about 24, 23, around those range. I think 24 to 20 App over Coastal. I think that's a safe number to kind of predict. Not a lot of games jumping out at me this coming week. I think the biggest game this week is number 1 Georgia taking on Kentucky. Georgia's not as good as everybody thinks they are. They're getting wins, but they're not overly impressive. They are definitely beatable. Kentucky looks very good this year. I would not be surprised if Kentucky beats Georgia, but Georgia being home at a night game, I think Georgia takes care of business, but don't be surprised if Kentucky wins. That's one upset I could see happening. Another upset I could see happening is Louisville and Notre Dame. Louisville looks pretty good this year. Last week they had a very underwhelming game against NC State, but I think Louisville's got as good a shot as anybody to upset Notre Dame. Louisville just moved into the AP 25, and they are at number 25, so that's really the other big matchup this weekend. Oh, never mind. Look at that. Bouncing right back up. I completely missed it. Oklahoma and Texas. Yeah, how about we preview that game? Oklahoma and Texas, what is it, the Red River Battle? Red River Shootout. That's what I was close. Both teams undefeated. I think this is going to be an electric game. I think Texas will get it done. I really do. I think they are for real. I think once this game is settled after noon on Saturday, I think Texas will flex their muscles and say, hey, we're for real, and we're here to be in the college football playoff and contend for a national championship. Oklahoma looks good. They're going to have a respectable game, but I like Texas in this game, in the Red River Shootout. That does it for the big games in college football. Again, can't go through all of them because ain't nobody got time for that. But if you like this episode, this wraps it up for today. Go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, hit that little bell. Be notified at any time new episodes get dropped. Follow anywhere you get your social media, anywhere you get your podcasts. Definitely enjoy this. If you guys got some comments for me, I'd love to chit-chat, answer some next week. And I like to debate. That's what it's all about. Football's all about debating and having fun. So till next week, guys, signing off right now. You guys have a good one.